Okay, but with no further ado, let's begin with today's adventure. And we're going to be talking about what's new in Dremio, which includes new generative AI capabilities, advances for 100% query success. Plus, again, Dremio is now on Azure, specifically Dremio Cloud. But with no further ado, I'm going to introduce Colleen Quinn, product marketing for Dremio Sonar, and Mark Shainman, Dremio product marketing. Colleen, Mark, this stage is yours.
Thank you, everybody, for attending our webinar today. My name is Mark Shainman, and I cover marketing for our Dremio Cloud product, as well as our partner marketing. I also like to introduce Colleen Quinn.
Hi, everyone. I'm Colleen. I also lead product marketing here at Dremio, focused on our SQL query engine and unified analytics. Thanks for joining, and I'll be back with you guys in a minute.
Well, our agenda today, we want to touch base briefly on an overview of Dremio and give you some insight into our overall philosophy, as well as we're going to dive into what's really new in Dremio, and then how you can specifically get started with the Dremio solution set. So when looking out in the marketplace today, we interact with a lot of companies, and what we see is the data lifecycle remains extremely complex, and that complexity causes a lot of expense and brittleness within their analytical ecosystem. So we see a problem where you have your operational systems and those data sources, and there's tons of spaghetti ETL pipelines feeding that data into data lakes. Those can be data lakes in the cloud, those can be on-premise data lakes, or even ones that are in a hybrid cloud environment. And from there, then organizations, in many cases, push the data in ETL pipelines to their data warehouses. Those can be on-prem cloud or even multiple data marts. So there's a continual duplication of data and numerous ETL pipelines that are needed to be created to move all that data around. And then also at the same time, you have your clients who need to access the data. And so in a lot of cases, organizations are creating even extracts or cubes so their users can have fast interaction with that data and get their business insight. So this remains an extremely complex environment, and there's numerous duplicate copies of the data that adds to this complexity, as well as the problem of dark data within organizations. So they have places where data exists, they don't even know it's there. That causes problems around governance, privacy, as well as security. So what we see is organizations wanting to simplify their environment, decrease costs, as well as increase their analytical insight. And enterprises are moving to the lakehouse to simplify that environment. So what they're doing is they're reducing and shifting left into an environment where you eliminate a lot of that spaghetti mess of ETL processes and duplication of data. And what you're doing is you're taking the data and moving it in an ELT manner into the data lake. So what you're doing is you're reducing the complexity and reducing all those transformation pipelines, really moving towards SQL-based transformation, which is much more effective and much more performant. And then that whole transformation lifecycle will then live in the data lake, reducing that overall complexity in the environment. The lakehouse has a huge advantage over the traditional architecture that I showed you previously of having those multiple steps, all that spaghetti ETL, having to move that data into a data warehouse. What you're basically doing is bringing that warehouse functionality on top of the lakehouse. So what you're doing is you have an environment where you have open data and open table formats. So what that gives organizations is the ability to leverage the tool of what they want for the workload that they need. They're never locked into a specific vendor. Of course, the advantage of separating compute and storage. So you're able to scale your storage or your compute based on the specific needs and workloads that you have within your organization. And as I mentioned earlier, it's this no copy architecture, meaning that I'm not having to create multiple copies of data and move them around my environment and have that problem not only of multiple copies and data inconsistencies, problems of data governance, but also that problem of causing dark data that exists within environments as well. So this whole idea is really shifting left, moving the users closer to the data. So when you look at an environment where you're trying to shift left and simplify your overall analytical ecosystem, you need some three main components. One is you need an intuitive self-service experience where you're actually enabling your users to really easily access that data wherever it lives within your organization. You need a powerful, intelligent query engine that gives sub-second response times for those SQL queries so your business users can have rapid insight into the data that they need to analyze. And of course, you need next generation data ops capabilities, which really simplifies the overall management of that analytical ecosystem. So you need those three core pieces of innovation. And that's what the Dremio Lakehouse brings to the table. So now let's jump into Dremio Cloud and what we're bringing out and some of the new components that we have within our solution set. So what we've announced, which is now available, is a Dremio Cloud Data Lakehouse is now available on Azure for public preview. Of course, one of the great things about this solution set is we provide a full unified semantic layer, and that allows organizations to leverage Dremio Cloud and access the data wherever it lives within their environment. So that data can be in ADLS storage, it could be in other databases, or even in other NoSQL platforms as well. We bring to the table a highly performant SQL engine, which, as I mentioned earlier, allows organizations and users to get that sub-second response time to their queries and their questions that they're asking, and to gain that business insight in a very short period of time. Of course, another key component that Dremio Cloud on Azure brings to the table is lakehouse management. So you have this robust management capability that provides things such as Git for data. So you're able to create branches of data so you can do experimentation and testing and not have to copy data, but at the same time not impact your production environment. Of course, it provides a modern data catalog and built-in data optimization to optimize data that exists in Iceberg tables within your lakehouse environment. So Dremio Cloud brings a lot of benefits to organizations who are looking for a robust analytical lakehouse environment within Microsoft Azure. With Dremio Cloud and Azure, you're always getting the latest functionality that's coming out within Dremio. There's no management overhead. So all the tasks such as DevOps to manage infrastructure, to manual upgrade infrastructure, create and manage certificates, to have multiple URLs for connections, all that management overhead does not exist within the Dremio Cloud for Azure environment. Of course, there's zero downtime and all the upgrades are automatic, something you don't have to worry about. Automatic scalability. So the environment dynamically scales based on the workloads that you have within your environment. So if you have peak workloads during the day or based on seasonal, it dynamically scales and contracts based on your needs and your performance needs within your workloads. Of course, the Dremio environment offers end-to-end encryption, and we offer flexible capacity pricing as well within our cloud environment. So there are huge benefits for organizations who are looking for an effective analytical infrastructure in the cloud and leveraging Dremio Cloud within Azure. So one of the other key components that we are releasing as well is our generative AI capabilities as well. Within the market, we see that there's a lot of effort and a lot of organizations who are looking for the potential of what generative AI can bring to the table. There's numerous use cases for generative AI to really advance analytical and BI workloads, things such as being able to prepare data, making cataloging and recommendations based on usage of the data, looking at to specifically mask or redact data, analysis of the data, generate dashboards as well, or predictions, sentiment analysis, being able to do that, or actually doing natural language processing, really enabling the non-technical user to have easy access and be able to ask questions within analytical environments, really doing things such as text to data and being able to present data stories in an easy, readable fashion to your business users. So what we're bringing to the table right now is new generative AI driven easy data curation. So what you can actually do within Dremio now, in Dremio Cloud, is automatically generate wikis. So you can, it leverages generative AI to automatically generate data set descriptions and SQL examples within your Dremio environment, as well as it can automatically generate labels and tagging. So it actually will go out, look at the semantics of the data, and actually create that label, create that metadata around the data that exists within your lakehouse environment. So it's highly effective, and it really streamlines this management process within a lakehouse environment, leveraging generative AI for this type of workloads. So when you're actually in Dremio Cloud, you can look for the GenAI symbol, this one up over on the right-hand side. And all you simply do is click on that symbol, and it will show you what specific tasks you can leverage generative AI for, such as populating the wiki, such as giving columns specific metadata information, as well as one of the other things that we brought out earlier this year that I wanted to touch base on and remind people of is our for specific analysts and data engineers is our text-to-SQL capabilities. We're able to simply write things in natural language as you would talk with a friend or somebody else, and it dynamically generates SQL that then can be leveraged to query data that exists within your lakehouse environment. Now I'd like to pass it on to Colleen, where she is going to talk about a unified path to Apache Iceberg.
Awesome. Thanks, Mark. So I am super excited to be talking about our unified path to Apache Iceberg. So as I think many of you know, Dremio is Apache Iceberg native. Apache Iceberg is an open table format that is being rapidly adopted across the tech sector. In fact, we recently completed a State of the Lakehouse survey that showed that Apache Iceberg is showing the fastest rates of adoption across the tech sector. Netflix actually created the Apache Iceberg table format to address performance and inherent issues, as well as usability challenges in Apache Iceberg tables and in large and demanding data lake environments. So as we start to see this acceleration of adopting Iceberg across the tech sector, Dremio has really doubled down on Apache Iceberg as our primary table format. Although if you're familiar with us, you also know that we support a myriad of table formats, including datalake. We really believe in meeting our customers where they are and giving you the flexibility to use the table formats that make the most sense to you. So we're excited to help bring our customers along with a unified path to Iceberg. Adopting a new table format can be really difficult, and there are complexities associated with that, whether you're migrating from an existing table format or you're storing all of your data in those raw file formats already in the data lake. So Dremio had previously supported this conversion process for CSV and JSON files, and we're excited to announce that we've expanded that support to include Parquet as well. So now, if you're storing any of your data in Parquet, CSV, or JSON, we literally have a one-click process to move your raw file formats from those raw file formats into Apache Iceberg to accelerate your analytics. Let me show you a little bit how you do that. So let's say you have a folder of CSV files in your S3 bucket. Dremio previously won't auto-recognize that as a table. And before, you'd have to manually promote those CSV files, so Dremio will be able to recognize that as a table. There were a number of manual and time-consuming steps that we had already solved for with CSV and JSON. And remember, we're now adding Parquet to that mix. And we literally are just allowing you to do it with one simple function called copy into. So what you're seeing here on this slide is this two-step conversion process and some extra housekeeping to make sure that your data lake is performant as possible. So step one, you just create your table using a create table function. The reason I say conversion to Iceberg is one step is because if that table already exists, if you've already created that table with that schema format, you don't need to take that step again. So you create your table using that create table function, create table as, or CTAS as we like to call it at Dremio. You can also add partition by to the end of that create table statement if you want to add hidden partitioning that makes queries on the table even faster. So that's step one. Step two, copy into. So you copy your data into that Iceberg table just by running that copy into query on the raw data. And again, whether that's CSV or JSON and now Parquet, copy that right into the table. And you can do up to 1,000 you can do up to 1,000 files in a single batch. So it's fast. And you're done. You've now converted that raw data into Iceberg. It's really just that simple. And you can see the code snippets, the SQL code snippet here that literally took 2 minutes for our folks to write. Now, there's some housekeeping that's optional, and we recommend this just to ensure that your tables are moving, that your analytics are moving as fast as they can. So these are not new functions. These have long been available in Dremio. But step 3, you can optimize your tables. Again, it's not required, but the optimize table command ensures that your table contains the optimal file sizes so that you have the most performant queries. And then step 4, you just clean up your tables using the vacuum catalog function. Again, you're already done. You've already converted your raw data into Iceberg, but this step just performs the table cleanup for all the tables in your Dremio catalog by expiring snapshots and deleting unused data files. So this helps improve storage utilization for the lakehouse. And if you're already using Dremio Cloud and you're using our lakehouse management capabilities that we had previously called Arctic, that optimization and cleanup runs in the background on all of your data once this is an Iceberg. So that's one of the major benefits of our lakehouse management capabilities is that once you've ingested that data, that table optimization and that garbage collection happens automatically because we're so tightly integrated into Iceberg's table optimization capabilities. So we'll automatically vacuum those tables to remove those unused manifest files and lists, as well as data files, and that cleanup runs in the background to ensure efficient storage and performance. So now, copy into step 1, and then automatically run that table optimization and garbage collection in the background, and your data lakehouse will be super performant, and will get you off of those old raw file formats and table formats so that you can take advantage of Apache Iceberg and all of the flexibility that it enables. Okay, so moving on a little bit, I want to talk about how we're continuing to expand our SQL functions and scope of SQL in Dremio. So Dremio is already an incredibly powerful SQL engine and really the only one in the industry that was built to run at scale on the data lake. And we're always continuing to expand our SQL coverage. So in this release for both Dremio self-managed software and Dremio Cloud, we've added an additional 7 SQL array functions that you can see here. So we'll continue to expand these. We added about the same number in our previous launch, and we have a whole host of these coming in the future as well. We've got a new blog post on how to use these SQL array functions too. So if you want to take a look at that, that's also available on the Dremio website. And as always, I want to talk about how we are continuing to make Dremio even faster. So with every release, our goal is to ensure that we're launching enhancements that make Dremio faster and more performant. And that's for both Dremio Cloud and Dremio self-managed software. So in this most recent release, we have a handful of capabilities or enhancements that we're putting into Dremio to make that happen. So let's start with our SQL query engine, which is at the heart of everything we do. So for query execution, we have improved query performance and system resource utilization by about 15% using that TPC-DS benchmark, which is the gold standard for performance measurement. With our query planner, we're now using Iceberg statistics and optimization for superior out-of-the-box query performance. Again, tapping into that deep Iceberg integration and native integration that is so prominent for us here at Dremio. In terms of general performance, if you are a Parquet 2.0 user, we now support Parquet 2.0 using vectorized reader, and this improves Parquet 2.0 reading performance by a staggering 70%. And if you're a Tableau person like I am, we've always had an integrated native Tableau connector. You can launch Tableau directly from the Dremio UI, but we're excited to share that we have updated the Tableau connector using Flight JDBC. So this is a built-in Aeroflight connector, and this enables about 30% improvement in Tableau query performance when you're using Tableau against Dremio. And now I want to give self-managed a little bit of a call out. We spent a little bit of time earlier in this presentation talking about Dremio Cloud and how we're so excited that Dremio Cloud managed service is now multi-cloud in Azure and also in AWS. But for our self-managed software customers, we want you to know that we're always also continuing to make Dremio even easier to use. And so in the 24.3 launch, which is available now, we're excited to introduce Dremio Self-Managed now includes Kubernetes elasticity. So you've got that K8s based elasticity so that the infrastructure and concurrency-based elasticity rules are run automatically, works with our workload management, query routing and and our concurrency. And so you've got all of these benefits now with that elastic scale for Kubernetes. So let's talk for a quick second about how you can get started. If you're already a Dremio software customer, you do need to go and download the latest launch update for 24.3. You can do that at our support portal to download that file or that upgrade. And you'll be able to take advantage of all of the capabilities in Dremio software that we spoke about earlier in this presentation. If you're a current Dremio Cloud customer, it's live. That's one of the beauties of running in the cloud is the speediness with which you have access to all of the new features and functions in Dremio. So those features are available now. They're live, and you can go start using those generative AI capabilities that Mark was talking about or running Dremio on Azure today. If you're new to Dremio, we're excited to see you, and we'd love for you to try it free. And you can do that using either Dremio Cloud or a free version of our self-managed community edition. So go ahead and go to the website and take a look and get started with that free version. As always, you guys, we're excited to have you with us, and we're so excited to see all of these new innovations coming in Dremio. Mark, thanks for letting me join you, and we hope to see you the next time. Okay, Mark, so I wanted to see if anyone in the audience had any questions for us. We did have one come in, and that question I think is best answered by you. So the question was, is Azure the only cloud platform on which Dremio Cloud is available?
No, we both have Dremio Cloud in AWS and Azure as well. So we cover both of those cloud providers.
Perfect. And then there was another one, and I'll take this one. The second question that we had submitted earlier today or earlier during this presentation was about table formats. So I had spoken a lot about Iceberg. There was a question about other table formats that we do support. I want to be clear, we also do support Delta Lake. We do read on Delta. So, whether you store your data in Delta or Iceberg, we can absolutely read that. And as I think we made clear, we also support DML for Iceberg. So all of that data warehouse functionality on the data lake using Apache Iceberg. I think it looks like we just got another question here in the chat. Let me take a look at that one. Does Dremio support a connector to Power BI in Azure? Yes, the answer to that is yes. So native integrations for Power BI and Tableau in Dremio. And then also you can connect, sorry, Mark, I didn't mean to just jump all over you there. And then also you can connect to so Tableau and Power BI are native actually in the UI. So you can launch Tableau or Power BI from the Dremio user interface. However, you can use any BI tool that has an ODBC or JDBC connection. So there's super flexible. And so the number of clients we support are much more extensive than just those two. So again, anything with an ODBC or JDBC connector is fully supported. And as I mentioned during my portion of our presentation today, we also now have that upgraded Tableau connector that uses Aeroflight. that is about 30% faster, which is super significant. So if you're using that version of Tableau, you'll see those performance gains straight away. Let's see. I think so I think we answered that question. Are there any other questions today from this group that we wanted to address while we were all here? I just keep seeing the same one, I think. So, okay. It doesn't look like it. I wanted again to one more time thank everyone for their time, and encourage you to, again, if you are a Dremio customer in managed software, go ahead and just download that upgrade from the support portal. It's super easy to do. Just go to the support portal and there's an option for downloads, and it's in there in the 24.x folder. So you can see that it's the latest one. So this is 24.3. If you're a Dremio Cloud user, congratulations. You don't have to do anything. It's there for you already. And if you don't know us yet, as Alex said at the beginning of our conversation today, please go ahead and give the free trial a try. You can just go to the dremio.com website and get started there with either cloud or software. And we'll see you next time. Thank you so much, everyone.